Hello again, folks. This next video is a project that even a year ago I probably would not have thought feasible, but I've learned so much since the COVID lockdown started regarding amateur audio and video recording and the technologies that are available very inexpensively to amateurs such as myself. For those who have seen my past videos, you'll recall that I attribute what small amount of musical theory I understand to a gentleman named Brian Kidd. I discussed that in the description of my video on Poor Wayfaring Stranger. But certainly the first strong musical influence in my life was my mother. She had an incredible voice, but I was just too young to understand or appreciate it at the time when she was at her peak. And although we never discussed it, I suspect she dreamed of a career in voice. But the music in the late 1950s and 1960s was shifting from jazz standards to rock and roll, and that just wasn't her style. To my knowledge, my mother made only one recording, about 10 songs. She did it in 1966. Thankfully, my brother Dan had the foresight to digitize it in 2003, shortly before her passing. And recently I started wondering if I could maybe bend time a little bit in a similar way that Natalie Cole did, singing a duet with her father long after he had passed away, if you remember Unforgettable. My mother's recording has only a single piano accompaniment, and it's all on one track, so the voice and the piano cannot be separated. Also, upon closer inspection, it was obvious to me that my voice could never hold a candle to hers, even when I was the same age as she was when she made the recording. Certainly not now that I'm 30 years older than she was at the time. She made her recording in 1966 in an empty recital hall, no audience, at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. I was just 11 years old at the time, probably about the same age I am in this photograph with my brother sitting in Santa's lap. Now I have children that are almost the age she was at the time. But I thought perhaps I could do something. Maybe I could sing backup vocals. Maybe I could add a studio orchestra to the recording. Something she could have never recorded, never afforded to do because you had to pay for every musician that you used at the time. But something period and stylistically appropriate. Yeah, and I could thank Brian Kidd for any ability that I might have to do that. I may not have succeeded, but Brian, at least I considered it while I was going through this. And in doing so, I could maybe bend time a little bit. On the few occasions that we sang together while she was alive, I was the kid, and she was my mother. Now for the next 3 minutes, she's the kid, and I'm 30 years her senior, old enough to be her father. Time has reversed our roles. She was born Doris Griffin in 1928. When she made the recording in 1966, she was Doris Rippey. She became Doris Osmond when she married again in 1985. The piano accompanist is James Meredith. The studio musicians are courtesy of GarageBand. The backup vocals are mine, as is the studio orchestration. The song is Through the Years. No, not the Kenny Rogers song. This song was written in the early 1930s and was featured in a Broadway musical by the same name. Music by Vincent Youmans and lyrics by Edward Heyman. This is Doris Rippey singing Through the Years. Through the years I'll take my place beside you.
Through the years I'll take my place beside you. Smiling through time.